All right.
We're running, yeah? Welcome to the Master Challenge podcast, where we want to close the gap between education and practice. But in the first episode, our pilot episode, we want to talk about Master Challenge in general and Bram, founder and owner of Master Challenge. So let's dive right into it. Bram, you're kind of wearing two hats at the same time. You come from academics or from university, but now you have your own company that addresses educational topics. Tell us a little bit about yourself and about your past and how you ended up creating Master Challenge.
Yeah, sure. So let me start by saying that I first did a PhD. So I really went into the academic journey. I actually finished my PhD. And then after publishing a couple of papers, I realized that doing research is not really my thing. So I started focusing more on education. And at some point, I became a full-time entrepreneurship lecturer at the University of Amsterdam. And so in my courses, I always try to make it as relevant as possible for students, society as well. In one of my courses, I started adding so-called assignments from companies that students could work on as part of my course. And then I realized that students really appreciate that. You know, they can put their theory into practice. They can gain valuable professional skills, collaboration skills, communication skills, problem-solving skills. And also companies appreciate it because they get fresh insights from students with academic knowledge and of course access to talent. However, me as a lecturer, I realize that organizing these kind of courses take a huge amount of time, and that's normally time we as in lecturers we don't get to organize that. So normally you're doing that in your spare time.
Yeah.
And that's not sustainable. Whereas the benefits of this type of education is huge. Closing the gap between education and practice through this type of education. Yeah. So at some point I thought, okay, well, we should be able to organize this in a more efficient way. So I started slowly on developing a platform, a matchmaking platform to bring assignments from companies to match them to students as part of a course. And then at some point, more and more lecturers, approach me for requesting help with recruiting the challenges and actually matching the challenges to the students. And I started helping them. And at some point, I thought, hey, if I really want to scale this up, we need to further develop the platform and bring it to market. And so a couple of years ago, I actually quit my full-time job and I started focusing more on further developing this platform.
The first thing that comes to my mind is, so out of your perspective, what is the difference between traditional education and this type of like challenge-based real-life education, and where do you see the benefits?
So the big difference is that you really stimulate students to put theory into practice and to work on a challenge from real life. As on not a hypothetical case to work on or writing papers, but really to tackle a problem that is faced by someone in society. It can be an organization, a commercial company, an NGO, etc. Because if you make it more real life, then they also understand why certain knowledge is important. But they can also use the knowledge to actually solve an actual problem.
Yeah.
And it makes this type of education way more relevant for students. And I strongly believe, and that's also what I see in my own teaching, that the more relevant education is, the more motivated students are, the more they learn, basically. And that's what education is about, to make sure that students learn as much as possible.
If it's so amazing, then why don't we do more of this? What are the hurdles to implement this kind of real-life based learning into our education system?
What are the challenges of organizing this challenge-based learning? Time, or actually the lack of time. Organizing this type of education just costs more time. You need to recruit the challenges or the assignments from the external stakeholders. So you need to have a database with companies or potential external stakeholders. that might have these kind of challenges. You need to approach them, have talks with them to see if they have a challenge that might fit the course. And if so, then probably the challenge also needs to be fine-tuned so that it really fits the course. And at some point, you also need to match those challenges to the students. I mean, you can do that randomly, but that will normally backfire. You want students also to have a say in which challenges they will be working on. And that has a positive effect on their own motivation. So that the lack of time to organize this type of education is normally an issue.
So if I'm a lecturer or professor, how would the whole process of using that real-life challenge-based learning look like for me? What are you doing behind the scenes at Master Challenge to organize all of this?
The starting point indeed is with lectures and their courses. So first we need to assess, or we need to be sure that students who take that course can do something that is actually relevant for an external stakeholder. Because if that's not the case, then it's super difficult to convince those external stakeholders to actually participate in these kind of courses. Let's assume we found a lecturer who has a course that is suitable for this type of education, suitable not only in topic and what students can do, but also that the structure of the course actually makes sense for this type of education, and that it's ideally based on teamwork, and that students can work on the challenge throughout the whole course. So not only 1 or 2 days, but throughout the whole course, so that they have enough time to actually come up with something that is practically relevant for those external stakeholders. Then, the first step is to reach out to external stakeholders. And again, it can be companies, NGOs, governmental organizations, you name it. It can also be, of course, people within the university that might have a relevant challenge that students can work on. Normally, we have a call with every external stakeholder to verify the suitability of the challenge and if it's aligned with the aim of the course. Well, when that's the case, they can actually submit the challenge. We do the recruitment for a lecture. Then the lecturer in the end also needs to approve or review and approve or unapprove the challenges, because you cannot just share all the challenges that came in directly with students.
So they need to stay relevant for the course and for the lecturer.
Definitely, yeah. And then if those challenges are approved, then we can start with the matchmaking phase. And well, we have in the platform different use cases to match students to challenges. So either we can form the teams and then match the teams to the challenges, or the teams have been formed already before and they sign up and then they can express their interest in a top 5 of challenges.
And so there's some type of ranking going on in terms of priorities and preferences?
Yeah, definitely. And we implemented into the system because I think it's very, very important that students, but also companies, are really motivated to start working with each other. So if you really take this matchmaking seriously, that's really appreciated by the students and the companies themselves.
Gotcha. So it's kind of like I don't want to say the app name, but kind of like a Tinder for students and companies within this context of the course.
Definitely.
Right? So everyone needs to be engaged and interested in the other party.
Yeah. We actually use a matching algorithm, which is called the stable marriage algorithm, developed by Gale and Shapley in the 70s, I believe. And that's really to match two populations with each other in such a way that everyone is as happy as possible, so that we establish stable marriages. And I read somewhere that this algorithm is also used in the dating industry. But I mean that's matchmaking.
It seems to work then.
Yeah.
And as a company, or as an NGO, whatever type of organization I am, if I'm interested in working with universities and educational institutions, what's in it for me? What can I expect from participating?
I think basically 2 things. One is to get fresh insights from probably a younger generation that have gained knowledge from a certain academic field in this course. Two, and this knowledge and those insights actually solve the challenge that you have, or at least to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, you get access to talent. So everyone or a lot of organizations are looking for talent. So this is an excellent way to work with a team of students, or maybe 2 or maybe 3 teams, but anyway, to meet young individuals that are on the edge of the labor market. So they might end up working for you either as a freelancer or side job, internship, or maybe even a full-time job. And so we often see that students actually end up working for the companies they do a challenge for.
Cool. But you are also a lecturer at the University of Amsterdam, and you told me that you also implement challenge-based learning in your course. Maybe you can talk a little bit about your experience as a lecturer, about the experience of the students and the companies, based on your maybe on some examples or your challenges that you faced in the course.
Yeah. As I said before, the first time I started organizing this, I realized, hey, this takes a lot of time to find the challenges, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And my second thing I realized was that if you teach these kind of courses, it goes more from just transferring knowledge to kind of a coaching style of teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So especially if you work with different challenges from different companies, of course within the aim of the course, but then the students have different things they struggle with when solving the challenge. The teaching style is more coaching based, so you can actually help those different teams with dealing with solving the challenge. And I also think that is appreciated by students, that you have that you can give them more direct feedback throughout the process of solving the challenges.
Mm-hmm. Well, from what I understood, you learn a lot about real life challenges, about how to apply your knowledge from university to real life problems, but also an important factor is you kind of prepare for job market, because you also learn a lot of soft skills, because you do work with companies as a team. You have to find common decisions you might need to take. Talk a little bit about what type of skills students develop from a real life based challenge.
In general, I would label them professional skills,
Mm-hmm.
because those challenges are real, right? Those external stakeholders also often have other things to do than only solving this challenge. Especially for students to, for example, deal with an external stakeholder, especially if you need information from their side, or if you need them to do something for you, for example, connect you with employees in organizations to interview to collect data,
Mm-hmm.
then a lot of students realize that in real life it's not that easy, for example, to get people do things that you actually want them to do. The fact that you realize that this can be an issue in real life, I think is also very good for students, and they also learn how to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
So if they send an email, if you don't get a message or a reply within a week, send a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
There's a very simple thing, but some students, they wait for weeks. That's just a simple example. So professional skills in terms of getting stuff done in the real world, I think is something what they really learn in these type of challenges. Yeah, but also collaboration skills with each other, communication skills. So how do you communicate in a professional manner?
Mm-hmm.
For example, setting up a first meeting. You should not say, "Hi, we need to organize a kick-off. Do you have time tomorrow?"
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't work in real life. So sometimes those basic skills also are important for students to learn.
Yeah, I suppose it helps to warm up everyone, or the students at least, to get more professional, even before they start to look for professional jobs.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, the most important skill, of course, is the problem-solving skill,
Mm-hmm.
right? So some companies, they come up with a challenge, they submit it on the platform, students read it, but sometimes even this challenge might not be the actual challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So what is really the problem behind the mentioned problem? And that is an important skill, I think, for anyone to really understand, okay, what's the context, what is important, to really dive deeper to get to the root cause of a certain issue. Because only if you understand that, you're able to identify the data that you actually need to solve the actual issue.
A lot of people nowadays are very hands-on and appreciate real-life feedback. Yeah, with smartphones and all that technology, people are not so keen on reading books anymore and getting like a theoretical approach to problems. Where do you see this going in the future, and what is kind of holding society back from doing this more?
Well, I have good hopes that more and more lectures and educational institutions will keep on organizing this type of education and further scale it up. Again, it takes a bit more time to organize this. And also a mind shift for a lot of lectures. To go from more of a traditional way of teaching to coaching style of teaching, and you need to be, as a lecturer, open to some sort of chaos if you organize this type of education. You have different stakeholders, different types of challenges, so more things can happen. I do see a lot of or enough potential and a lot of enough enthusiasm among lecturers and education institutions to keep on organizing this type of education. Some educational institutions, they invest in departments, either within a faculty or within the central body of the university, to, for example, help lecturers with finding external stakeholders or to find challenges. And I think that's crucial. It's important that they have that in-house, that they can do the recruitment for lecturers themselves, that they build up this network. They can also keep this network warm. And I think low-hanging fruit is alumni. Every educational institution, they produce alumni every year, thousands of them. They all start working somewhere, either for themselves or at a company, or at least most of them. They have studied at a certain university. So how cool would it be if you can, let students from the same university you studied at to let them work on a challenge that you have for your own company, or for the company that you work for. And so hopefully this will be a nice way also to keep them close to the university. Yeah.
All right. Very interesting. Yeah, thank you for taking the time to answer them.
All right. Thanks for asking your questions.
Of course. See you next time.